Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sean Arnold and welcome to the One Man SpoilerCast. This is a show where I openly and freely discuss my thoughts and impressions on a piece of media that I have recently experienced, and today's topic is going to be a video game which I completed earlier today, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. And overall, I would just want to say that the subheading Phantom Pain truly sums up my experience with this entry into the popular franchise. First things first, if you've clicked on this video looking for a review of the game to help decide whether it is worth a purchase, then the answer from me is a resounding 100% yes. Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain is a fantastic game. I have put in well over 120 hours into the single player campaign and it feels incredible to play. If scores are important to you, then I would give the game a 10 out of 10. I feel comfortable enough in saying that as part of the franchise as a whole, the bigger picture if you will, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain is not a very good Metal Gear Solid game. Again, it's a great video game, but it's not a great Metal Gear Solid video game. Allow me to explain. From a narrative point of view, The Phantom Pain is almost an irrelevant echo of the main series plot. It feels as if though the entire story could be summed out as a set of cliff notes when compared to the overall storyline. It isn't so unimportant that any fan of the Metal Gear franchise should feel the need to ignore it, unlike Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops or Metal Gear Solid Acid. But it's hard to say that the story here matters much in the grand scheme of things. Once again folks, this is a spoiler cast, and from this point onwards I will be giving examples from the game. You have been warned. I'm going to recount my problems with the Phantom Pain in the order I experienced them in. The first issue I had was the lack of bosses in this game. In fact, as far as my memory goes, there are only two genuine boss fights in this game, one being against Quiet and the other being against Sahelanthropus. Whilst there are many other moments which come close to being a boss fight, I feel it is hard to validate them as such when you can simply just walk away from them. I'm particularly talking about the Man on Fire and the Skull unit. You don't even get an opportunity to fight against the main antagonist, Skullface, which is a first for the series. In every game before now, you've always had a boss and their crew to fight against. MGS1 you had Foxhound, 2 had Dead Cell, 3 had the Cobras, and 4 had the Beauty and Beast Corps. As far as Metal Gear Solid 5 goes, the enemies in this game merely cross paths by coincidence, with a young Psycho Mantis being at the centre of it all. Boss fights are so important to the design of every Metal Gear game. Ask any long-time fan of what their favourite moment is in the franchise, and I'm sure they're going to name a boss fight. Whether it's fighting Psycho Mantis or Sniper Wolf in Metal Gear Solid 1, or having a sword fight with the President of the United States on top of a building in Metal Gear Solid 2. Or perhaps it's fighting against the boss at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3, which is debatably one of the greatest fights in video game history. Fans of my channel may be aware that I put up a video of myself S-ranking the extreme mode of Cloaked in Silence, claiming it to be one of the best fights in gaming, and I still stand by that. But why wasn't there more than this? It kind of just left me feeling empty. Second of all, after beating Sahelanthropus for the second time and entering Chapter 2, I encountered my second problem with the game, and that is filler. Holy crap, we actually have a Metal Gear Solid game with actual filler content in it. Chapter 1 of the game is made up of 30 unique missions. Chapter 2 of the game is made up of 20 missions, 15 of which are hard mode repeats of the missions in Chapter 1. That is insane. I personally have no problem with doing a mission again on a harder difficulty, but being forced to do so as content to kind of complete Chapter 2 was almost insulting to me. Fans may point out that this was a similar case in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, where the true ending of the game came after defeating harder difficulty missions of the missions that came before. However, I never actually finished Peace Walker. Why? Because after beating the game's first final boss and seeing the credits, I felt like I had beaten a complete game and didn't need to continue. And there's a big difference here. Finishing Chapter 1 of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain didn't make me feel like I had finished the game. In fact, it just left me with many more questions, especially since I know where the series storyline goes after this game. and it kind of just made me think, okay, how does this match up with what's going to happen next? On top of this, there are many reports online that much of this game's content was actually cut before the final release. The discovery of Mission 51 is a strong example of this, which you can listen to yourself on YouTube, which someone found by going through the files of the game. And after listening to that, I would have actually felt to myself, yeah, that would have been a good stopping point for the game, but unfortunately we didn't get it for some reason and it was all left unfinished. Yet, the final mission of Chapter 2 is the repeat of the final mission in Chapter 1. That's awful in my eyes. It's never really been that way for any Metal Gear game, and kind of saddens me that for this one, which is almost arguably has the best gameplay out of any Metal Gear game, it's kind of sad that this is the way it's been. The final issue I have with this game is that it feels like a shell of what could have been. A true phantom, if you will. And this comes from many different things. The lack of bosses and the use of filler content to pad out the game are but the tip of the iceberg. There's also the decision to not use many of the voice actors we've grown to love over the years. Hearing Christopher Randolph as Huey was great as always, but I really missed hearing David Hayter as Snake or Patrick Zimmerman as Ocelot, the two main characters for every Metal Gear Solid game, not including Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2. Don't get me wrong, everyone here does a fantastic job, including Kiefer Sutherland and Troy Baker, but not hearing those iconic voices made me feel as if though I wasn't playing with the real Ocelot or the real big boss. But then, after going through the big twist of the game, I'm almost okay with that now. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the big crux of this game is that you're not playing as Big Boss at all. In fact, even Ocelot is living a lie here. Mother Base and the Diamond Dogs, as far as the narrative goes, are real, but at the same time also a fake. It's almost poetic in its delivery, and the point was really driven home to me once I had completed Paz's storyline. In this game, Paz is experiencing a strong episode of selective amnesia, where her mind is trying to relive the happiest moments of her time spent in Peace Walker as a member of Mother Base. She keeps waiting for this big event, this big day called Peace Day to come, but when it doesn't, it brings her crashing back to reality. It is then that she realises that those good days are gone and they are never coming back. I feel as though the same can almost be said for the Metal Gear Solid franchise as a whole. The series creator Hideo Kojima and his Fox team are now gone from Konami. The voice actors who made this series great are gone. Even the characters Big Boss and Solid Snake, the heroes we followed for 28 years, are gone as well. To close, ladies and gentlemen, there may be more Metal Gear Solid games to come out in the future, but just like a prosthetic limb, they will never replace that which has been lost. And that to me was the true meaning behind the Phantom Pain. My name is Sean Arnold, and thank you for listening to this SpoilerCast, and thank you for supporting any of our content on the channel as always.